Now, you guys are looking at the image right there. If you are not in the loop, if you did the academy, you might know what you're looking at. If you've never done my academy, you've not been taught by me, you don't know what you're looking at. Like, what is that? I'm going to help you guys out. For those of y'all that don't know, right? And the Russian icons are very, very important. So I'm not about to teach this whole class. I'm going to kind of just do strategic slides. So y'all stay with me. All right. So the first slide I'm going to deal with is, who is Vladimir the Great? You're like, Vlad's a what? You know what I'm saying? The United States, Vladimir Putin? Like what? Vladimir Putin? Yeah, Vladimir Putin is the new Vladimir, but there's a Vladimir before him called Vladimir the Great. He's a historical figure. Very, very important. Who is he? And why is he important? Okay, let me come back and make the slide big again. I want to make sure. I'm not showing y'all all the slides, so I'm trying to see what I'm doing. So here is a article that I clipped from the Guggenheim. The Guggenheim is a museum. So now we're dealing with, for those that will not agree with what I'm teaching, you trying to tell me I'm pseudo? No, I'm reading articles from museums. I'm showing you stuff that's in museums. Don't argue with me. You sound crazy. Argue with the museum. Don't argue with me. So this is the Guggenheim, the history of the Russian icons, right? This is the age of the icon from the 13th century. That's from the 1200s till the 17th century. That's from the 1600s. That includes the period where there was a Renaissance. And as you guys can see, there are Russian icons here at the beginning of the article from the Guggenheim. That's why I took a screenshot. So I don't hear later on when people are doing reactions to my show, it's pseudo. No. This is, you guys see where I'm getting this from. You can actually Google this article up and read it for yourself. Okay. Go to the next slide. What about the Russian icons from the 1300s, the 13th century, the 17th century? All I want is the first two sentences. It says, the history of the Russian icon painting tells the story of the Russian people and their search for an adoption of religion. Here's the point I want. That's why it's highlighted. The story begins long ago, under the reign of Vladimir, Prince of Kiev, in 988 AD. So we're focusing on a fella here named Vladimir. And Vladimir is very, very instrumental to Russian history because the story of the Russian icon points to him in 988 AD. Brothers and sisters, that is 500 years before the Renaissance. Right? Okay. So I'm going to come out of here. And again, I told you, I've given this presentation in the academy. If you did the academy, this is not new to you. Right? I want to focus on this fellow right here, Vladimir. So, blow it up. This is an image called Vladimir. This is supposed to be Vladimir right here. This fellow right here. It's called Vladimir and Ragneta, right? So Dr. Umar said that's the oppressor's history, right? I was taught that too. Russia, Vladimir, that's the oppressor's history. Why do we care about that? That's the oppressor's history. So this is supposed to be Vladimir right here. And this is Ragneta. She's not even important. We want to focus on him. That looks like a white man to me. That looks like a white man to y'all too, don't it? Because it looks like a white man to me. Okay. So we find out this image, the same image right here, was painted in 1770. You guys see that? This image right here that we just looked at, here it is blown up, was painted in 1770 by Anton Lysenko. Interesting. All right, so we got that part right so far. This is the image. Everybody clear? See him right here? Okay. Let's come down here. That's interesting because there's another image of Vladimir that's circulating around that looks like this. Do y'all see that? This image is 210 years older than this white boy right here. This is 1770. This image is 210 years older. It was painted in 1560. It's 210 years older than the white boy. And everybody in this image is black. And just in case you want to argue with me, I want you guys to know we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. Just wait. Just wait. There's more. So here we have the images side by side. This one of what looks like a black man with an afro, clearly, unless you're going to lie to yourself, let me blow it up. Unless you're going to lie to yourself, this image right here of a black man with an afro with a crown on his head is 210. This is 1560. This one was made in 1770. They don't look nothing alike. Come back. Let's come back. Somebody confused. Somebody's confused. Here's the picture of Vladimir and Ragneta right here. This image was painted in 1770. Then you come here. This image was painted in 1560. It's 210 years older. And this says, this is Vladimir. They don't look nothing alike. That's interesting. So the question should be, which one is real? Is it the black guys over here? White guy over here? Which one is true? I don't know. Now, somebody might be like, well, the images are doctored. No, they're not. I'm showing y'all where the images are. By the way, let's come back. Let's take this slow. This is the image of Vladimir right here, right? You go to the next slide, right? I want y'all to see, notice the trimming is gold and the sleeves are red right here of Vladimir. I want y'all to know there's another image that looks just like it. The trimming is not gold and red anymore. Now it's purple and black. This is Vladimir too. A whole different image. And where is it? It's in the cathedral at St. Sophia in Novgorod, Russia. So nobody doctored these images. Nobody messed with these images. All that narrative that people want to put out there, that's not real. It's not real. All we're doing is we're just following the information, right? But wait, priest, wait. Look at this. I'm not finished. Let's go back. Here we have Vladimir over here. I contest this is a black man in the image. I didn't create this. I didn't doctor it, nothing. And I juxtaposed the black man Vladimir here with the crown on his head. Shows he's a king, as opposed to this Renaissance stuff that's 210 years later. You can't get that. Like that's, I don't know, priest. I'm still confused. Okay. Here's another image of the same thing, different colors, but same thing. There's more. There's more. What if I told you there's even a darker image? See that right there? Do y'all see that right there? This is the holy image of Vladimir the Great. Same as the other two. He's even darker here. Somebody's like, I can't see it. I got you. That's not an afro right there? You gonna argue with that? No, I'm gonna argue with priest and say pseudo. I'm not creating these. I'm not creating these. I'm just showing it to you. Now, we're going to come out for a second. Because people be playing with me like I don't know what I'm talking about. We're going to come out for a second, right? And let's come to AI. I already know what this is. I already know what this black image is. Clearly a black man. Let's come back for a second. We're going to take our time with this. But we're not going to take our time because I'm about to end the class, right? That's clearly a dark-skinned man. I said this is Vladimir. But somebody's saying, you made that up. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show y'all I didn't make that up. I'm not making the rules. So I came here and I told AI, because I already know the answer. I told y'all, when I told the AI, I already know the answer. But I asked it just to ask it for fun. I said, this is an image of Vladimir, Boris, and Gleb. Please tell the class the history of this image and how important it is to Russia and where it is located. That dark chocolate image of Vladimir. Remember, let's come back. I know I keep bouncing back and forth. I want to keep the idea, right? We were told that Vladimir looks like this. If you are a Googleologist, you only deal with Google, this is what you're going to get. But if you know what Priest Danyaahla knows, because I was taught by my teachers, you know that images like this exist that look way different. It's chocolate as hell. And they're saying it's the same guy. So I took this image and I came to AI and asked it, hey, can you tell me, or tell the class, the history of this image, how important it is to Russia and where it's located, right? So it tells you that that's Vladimir. Just like I said, we ain't gonna read all this stuff. We don't have to. Why it's important to Russia, we don't have to read that either. And we're gonna come here, right? And we're gonna tell you where it's currently located. It's currently located in the State Tretyakov Gallery in Moscow, Russia. Meaning this black as hell image of Vladimir, this one right here, that's in my PowerPoint. Right here. This black image right here is in a museum in Russia right now. So when you tell me I'm pseudo, you got to go call the museum. Don't call me. Call the museum. What are we talking about? AI is telling you that. This image is in a museum right now. So how come this dark chocolate image don't look like this? Which one is true? Because the black one is in a museum. But if you're not aware it exists, you're going to come arguing and tell me I'm pseudo. Because you went to Google and went to Google Images and you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And that goes with all the history I teach. People don't be on this stuff till I tell them. And they have to go back and research like, yo, I didn't know that. Right? We're not done. I'm almost done, but I ain't done yet. Let's come back to AI. So this black image of Vladimir is in a museum in Russia right now. So if it's pseudo, if it's doctored, somebody needs to call the museum and tell them that, is what I'm saying. Now, I opened up another AI because this is ChatGPT. I asked it the same question and I got the same answer. The same answer. Current location, the State Tretyakov Gallery in Moscow, Russia. So if this is pseudo, if it's doctored, y'all need to call them and let them know. Because the AI is telling you that these museums are holding this in their galleries and they are holding it as being accurate, even though Google is showing you images. Google is showing you images that are not real. Google is showing you this. And you would think this is right. And this is the only thing that exists if you didn't study and your elders didn't teach you this. And a lot of times the people that people learn under don't know this stuff. So they treat it as trash. I remember when I first came to the truth, I thought this was crazy. But clearly it's not, because now that we live in the age of information, the age of information is telling you, no, this is accurate. This is accurate. Everybody with me? Now, let's move to the next thing. Let's come back. I'm bouncing around. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Now, you might say to yourself, okay, priest, that was interesting. Why is any of that important? Why is any of that important? See if I can find a slide. I'm kind of bouncing around. It's important because, as you guys can see, I have a slide here from Oxford bibliographies. Despite the links to the historical processes in the West, the Renaissance era is not a category of periodization in Russian history. Translation, there was no Renaissance in Russia. So the images that you guys see of these dark-skinned images of things like this, that's real. In Western Europe, there was a Renaissance, but in Eastern Europe, there wasn't. And you have Russian people that still hold these images as being authentic to today. So the argument of it being, you're pseudo whatever, that's not a thing. It's not a thing. Vladimir introduced the icons to Russia. They have him here as introducing the icons to Russia. That's what the museums say. They also have him as a dark-skinned man in this icon right here, as opposed to this one. And they have him as a dark-skinned man in this icon right here. And AI checked it and said, yeah, that exists and it's in the museum right now. Is everybody following along? Okay. I'm not giving y'all all this. I did this in the academy. Y'all not getting all this. We're going to start from right here. Why was that important? So we have Vladimir, who's a real person, who's a real Russian czar, who there's a debate about amongst Russians, not amongst me. Is he the white boy? Is he the black boy? They could figure that out, right? But if he's the black boy, that would explain why a lot of the icons are black too, right? So I want to show y'all my books. I'm gonna open this up. These are my books, because I've heard people say that when I talk about books, I don't have them. I don't normally do this. Today I said, you know what, I'm gonna show y'all I have the books. So here we have two books. If you're looking right here on the screen, y'all see that on the left? That's Russian. Nobody could read that if you're not Russian. On the right, this is English. I'm gonna play the video. Just watch.
Okay, guys, so now that we know the history of Vladimir, I'm gonna let you guys in on my archives now. I'm actually showing you my books. A lot of times I just show you guys PowerPoints, but I don't want to leave any stone unturned. I don't want to hear that you don't really have these books. If I show y'all books, I have them, or else I wouldn't say that. So this first book, as you guys can see, is called The Annunciation Cathedral of the Moscow Kremlin. And you guys notice the left is in Russian and the right is in English. And what is the Annunciation? On the cover of the book, that's supposed to be the angel Gabriel announcing to Mary that she's blessed and highly favored amongst women, and that she was going to bear the Messiah. And as you guys can see when you come in on the image of Mary, it's a melanated image, and so is the image of Gabriel, right? And you can see where the paint is kind of wearing. But the image is dark, right? But that's neither here nor there. I'm going to show you guys some other images from this book in a few minutes. But I want to turn my attention to this book. This book is over 30 years old. As you guys can see, the binding is coming off. I'm going to have to try to buy another one. That's why I barely even go into this book. But nevertheless, this is a book called... Hold on a second, guys. Oh, I got the book upside down. Yeah, that's why. Okay. Yes.
Look at the binding on the book.
This is a book called The Icon. The book is so old. I mean, so old, guys, that you guys can see that I brought it when I was back at One West, and I was in our camp. Used to go to Yonkers, New York, right? And I wrote my name in there in the camp I was in back then, right? Anyway, back then I used to mark my books with the pages that were relevant to me. So these are the relevant pages, so I didn't have to finger through the whole book. I want to go to page 100 real quick. Page 100. And let's see what we find on page 100. So this is page 100. Let's go to the caption on the left first. What does that say? It says detail.
Now, I want to go back a little bit because I want to say this. I'm very transparent. There was a long history of Russian icons. So by the time you get to later in the history, some of the icons started looking white. That's true. But the oldest ones are black. That's what I'm showing y'all. I'm not going to deny that some of the images in the book are light. I know that. You have to go through the book and go through when they were painted. Each one was painted at a different time. But the older ones are dark. Let's come back a little bit. We're not hiding nothing.
Anyway, Back then I used to mark my books with the pages that were relevant to me. So these are the relevant pages, so I didn't have to finger through the whole book. I want to go to page 100 real quick. Page 100.
So some of those images are light, but they're later.
And let's see what we find.
Some of them are dark. 100. Right?
So this is page 100. Let's go to the caption on the left first. What does that say? It says, detail from a traveling iconostacist, the prophet Solomon, School of Moscow, late 15th century. So this is a image that's located at the School of Moscow.
15th century will be the 1400s, which means at the same time the Renaissance was taking place in Western Europe, when all those white images were being painted, this was being painted at the same time in the East.
It was created in the late 15th century, and this is King Solomon. This still exists there today. And this is how Solomon is depicted. Does everybody see that?
That's an afro. What are we talking about?
Does everybody see that?
How it's not doctored, it's in a book, and it's telling you where it is. Let's go back. It's not doctored, it's in a book, and they're telling you where it is. If you have the spirit to argue, you can't argue with me. It's in the book. Go to Russia and argue with them. I'm just showing y'all what's in there.
At the School of Moscow, and it was created in the late 15th century, and this is King Solomon. This still exists there today. And this is how Solomon is depicted. Does everybody see that? Does everybody see that? So no one can say this is manipulated because it's in a book, and the book tells you where it's located. Nobody's playing with these images. These images look like this because even some of the Russian czars, as I just showed you, they were painted this dark as well. Now you do with this information what you will.
So I showed y'all Vladimir and the Sons, that in museums painted as being dark, chocolate. Do with that what you will. Just argue with them and not me. Leave me out of it, right? St. Basil's Cathedral. St. Basil's Cathedral, that's it. That looks like ice cream cones on the top of the museum, right? The cathedral looks like ice cream cones. Let's come down. St. Basil's Cathedral is on the UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites, so it's very important, right? I'm gonna come down here. This is an image of St. Basil from a church website. What does that look like to y'all? I'm just gonna scratch my head. This cathedral in Russia that was built to St. Basil, this is him. What does that look like to you? Now, somebody may say that was doctored. Okay. Because that's the excuse. Like, it's always an excuse to get out of something that you didn't know. Okay. So this is the Annunciation Cathedral in Russia. This is it. Why does it matter? Well, St. Basil is in the Annunciation Cathedral as well. I have this book. Y'all just saw it. Y'all just saw me show you I have this book. Where do you think this image comes from? That's why it's Russian on the left, English on the right. On plate 125 in his book, this is St. Basil in Russia. Y'all gonna tell me that's a white man? Look at the hair. Y'all are wondering why the book looks like why Mary looks black on the front of the cover? Why Gabriel looks black on the front of the cover? You say it's doctored, that's manipulated. No, it's not. No, it's not. You just made it up. You mad. You don't want to accept that. You know what I'm saying? You didn't learn that. Your master teachers didn't teach you that. You learned it from me. Argue with them. This is plate 125 in that book. This is St. Basil. This cathedral was built in his commemoration. So you could say, yeah, the church website, the Anglican Foundation of Canada, doctored the image. Okay. But when you come to Russia and they make their books, they put the image of a black man in there too. What you gonna say now? I'm sure somebody will make something up, right? Same book, and I'm not great at taking pictures, so y'all forgive me. I took these quick. Does that say that that's the forefather Joshua? It's a black man in this book in Russian? Do they depict Joshua as a black man? That's crazy. That's crazy. This is the resurrection of Lazarus, and I'm not great at taking pictures, but this is supposed to be Christ right here with Afro. And it's supposed to be Lazarus down here. I have my flash on so you can't see his face, whatever. But you guys get the idea. No, I'm sorry, this is Lazarus right here. Do you guys see the mummy wrap in the face? The face is black and the mummy wrap is white. This is in this book. You pseudo. No, you stupid. I'm not making no claims. I'm just reading a book. Are we not just reading a book? Am I making any claims or am I reading a book? The descent of the Holy Ghost, right? So this is supposed to be Acts chapter 2, right? These are the people waiting on the Holy Ghost on Acts chapter 2 to come down. Everybody in this image has an afro, and there's Christ at the bottom with an afro. Again, forgive me, that thing right there, that's the flash. I was doing this quick. I was running out of time as I was preparing the class. But you got to be, anyway, if you can't see this, it's not meant for you. Nobody making no claims. We're just looking at what's out there. Just say, you know what? I never knew that. Just say that. I never knew that. That's all you got to say. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave that there. It's a lot more I could go into. Is there anything else I want to talk about here? Here's another book. It's called The Icon by Kurt Weitzman, right? So-called Jew. Weitzman is a white Jew, right? He put a book together called The Icon from Russia. That's supposed to be King David. You tell me. You tell me. We say Israelites are crazy. You say that Jews are black. Why do we have all these icons from the Russia and why would they paint these things black? In Western Europe, they were painting them white, but in Russia, they were painting them black. I'm waiting to hear the explanation. Well, they'll do the DNA. No, you have iconography before there was such a thing as DNA, before there was such a thing as West Africa, and people being told that the Jews were, the so-called white Jews were going down to Africa and they were converting them to Judaism, and black people didn't believe they were Jews. Then why are people in Russia painting the Jews as being black? I'll leave that there. There's no sense. I did this class in the academy. I did the full lesson in the academy, but that's enough. I know some cannot receive this. Most can. Like, common sense is common sense, but most cannot receive this because you just weren't taught this. So I'm going to leave you right there where you at. But just know there's a reason why we teach what we teach. We're not just sitting down here just saying things. We don't make claims just to make them. We woke up one morning and said, hey, man, the Russian icons are black, but you're going to say that. No. If I'm saying it, you better believe I got a book that says it too. And more likely than not, the book was written by white people, not me. So you can't even blame the black Israelites. I just want to say that. But that being